Hi everyone, welcome back to our Looking Forward with Workday series. Today I'm joined by 4 of my colleagues who are based across Europe and will introduce themselves shortly. Just some housekeeping before we begin. All lines are muted and will remain so throughout the session. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screens for our speakers to refer to at the end. And if we do happen to run out of time, we will get back to you individually via email. I'd also like to confirm that this session is being recorded and the on-demand version will be accessible within the next couple of working days. So with that, I'll hand over to you, Richard.
Lovely. Thank you, Lauren. Good morning, everyone. If you can go to the next slide, please. So my name is Richard Doherty, and I'm sort of the master of ceremonies, if you like, for today, introducing the session and then managing the questions at the end. As Lauren said there, it is a very international panel here. It's almost like the Eurovision Song Contest, but you'll be glad to hear without the singing. So we have Shannon, who is in Dublin, who is our senior product strategist, who will be opening up the session. We have Karin who's in Stockholm, who will be doing the demo. And we also have Lenneke, who will be joining us at the end for the Q&A session, as Lenneke is an expert in implementation of these sorts of things. Next slide, please. As with any Workday session, if we make any forward-looking statements, please keep in mind that the future is uncertain and plans can change. Next slide, please. So this is our running order. So Shannon is going to cover sort of the thinking behind our approach to the people experience, how we've got to where we are today, and what we've released with 2020 R2. And then Shannon will hand over to Karin, who is going to run an extended demo of the people experience. So 3 different elements to it: Workday Today, Workday Journeys, and Workday Help. And then when Karin finishes, we'll open up for Q&A. And let me just remind you again, as Lauren said, please enter your questions in the Q&A rather than the chat. It's just easier for us to manage that way. So I think on that point, I will hand over to Shannon.
Thank you, Richard. So to set the stage for the rest of the session, I think let's go back to the very beginning. When we first announced People Experience, our focus was and continues to be helping employees save time and be more productive by connecting them with the information that they need as quickly as possible. And at first, this was about providing a homepage that surfaced relevant information and actions. But in speaking with customers and mapping out their journey, we understood that a best-in-class self-service experience would need extended capabilities and would need to serve the employee in a way that felt natural and intuitive to them. And as our product offering expanded to meet the needs of our customers, we recognized that we were essentially solving 3 distinct use cases, and we wanted to package our solution accordingly. So first was for customers who wanted a new homepage experience that helped their employees transact as quickly as possible. Second was for customers who wanted to proactively guide their employees through very specific experiences. And the third was for customers who wanted to help answer employee questions, first by empowering employees to find the answers themselves, but ultimately by being there in case they weren't able to find the information specific to their use case. So with that said, we do recognize that while many of you may already be familiar with People Experience, it might be helpful to provide a little more context for what our vision is, how we aim to help our customers, and provide a brief overview of the suite of People Experience products. As we all know, we're living in very interesting times where it feels like the world of work has fundamentally changed. And for years, businesses have been experiencing this notable pace of change, but never before has it been more acutely felt. And it's brought to light something that business leaders have known for quite some time, and that is that it's our people that are at the heart and soul of a business. And if we take care of our people, they'll take care of our customers, our partners, our suppliers, and each other. And if we can take care of our people, the economics will follow. Beyond that, this time has also demonstrated the very critical role that HR plays, because essentially they are the ones responsible for taking care of the people and ensuring that they have what they need to be successful. And that we find is what's driving the investment in the employee experience. However, while investing in the employee experience, companies are typically encountering three main challenges. Firstly, employees are overwhelmed. Over time, as businesses have grown and scaled, processes have become more and more complex. More information, steps, or systems are added onto existing processes, and all of a sudden, the process that initially was intended to help guide and support employees through moments like maybe a maternity leave or a career transition can leave them even more confused, frustrated, and lost. And if they have questions, what often happens, because there are so many different systems, is that employees don't know where or who to turn to in order to find the answers. And that's why we're seeing statistics and hearing horror stories of employees finding it harder and harder to get meaningful work done. According to one McKinsey report, employees spend 1.8 hours every day searching for and gathering information. That equates to an average of 9.3 hours per week. That's one full working day. Additionally, the same data shows that since 2015, the average number of enterprise applications per company has grown by 43%. So this requires employees to spend even more time looking for answers across many disparate systems, which only adds to their overall frustration. And so with all of this in mind, when HR leaders are thinking about the employee experience, they're often thinking about how they can simplify processes, eliminate friction, and help their people be more productive. The second challenge is, in order to have a powerful employee experience, one that really drives engagement and productivity, employees need to have more than just their basic needs met. People want to be inspired by the company that they work for. They want to feel connected with the people that they're working with, and they want to be empowered to do their jobs well. And most importantly, they want to feel supported on their path to being even better. And in today's world of work, this is what it means to take care of our people. But that leads us to the third challenge. And that is that HR leaders often struggle to find the right tools and technologies to help execute on their people experience initiatives. So as I mentioned earlier, companies are often stitching together multiple solutions in an effort to deliver great experiences. However, the problem with multiple systems is that they lead to mismatched data sets that leaves companies in a position where it's hard to understand, deliver, and measure the impact of their efforts. So through our research and our ongoing conversations, we know that what our customers are looking for is a unified, intelligent user experience that can really help them unlock the full potential of their people. And at the end of the day, we want to help them do that. Not only by enhancing the employee experience, but by enhancing the employee themselves. So to that end, we're focused on delivering a suite of products that help HR teams to firstly drive productivity by simplifying HR processes and helping employees get the right information as quickly as possible. And most importantly, to augment every individual with insights and actions that empower them to do their job as well as grow and develop in their careers. And we're fortunate to be in a unique position to do so. Because fundamentally, we believe, along with our customers, that any experience built to support a worker would need to have them at the center of that experience. And that's where we lean into our unique ability to deliver a personalized experience for every individual who logs into Workday. This means that the experience is dynamic. It's constantly surfacing the most important and relevant information based on who the individual is. We have insights into employees' most commonly used tasks or apps, and we can help them get to where they're going quickly and seamlessly. We're also in a position to surface when something like time off is approaching, or when certifications are going to expire, or when someone from your team received great feedback. And we can help you intelligently surface those insights and enable your people to be better, more productive managers or employees. We also heard from our customers that they wanted an experience that felt familiar, intuitive, and met them where they were. Now, we recognize that most employees do not live in Workday like many of us do. So to help them drive productivity, we would need to go to them. And that's why Workday People Experience leverages an omni-channel approach to answering employee questions and help them execute simple tasks, whether or not that be on desktop, on mobile, or in their natural workspace like Slack or Microsoft Teams. And finally, with Workday's Power of One, customers have the ability to deliver a unified, intelligent user experience that can support, develop, and empower workers with a robust suite of applications. This in turn can build a rich contextual understanding of each individual, represented by one data set, very important, and stored in one system. So these are the differentiators that informed the 3 inaugural products that make up Workday's People Experience. And first up, we have the foundation of Workday's People Experience, which is Workday Today. And Workday Today is the new Workday experience for every company and every employee. It's designed to help employees find what they need as quickly as possible and intelligently surface insights and actions that help them be better at their jobs. To enhance the new Workday experience, we've also released 2 packaged SKUs that offer extended functionality. With Workday Help, customers will have access to Workday's native integrated HR service delivery solution with knowledge and case management features. And Workday Journeys will allow organizations to create unique experiences with personalized journeys and custom cards. So now that we have a high-level understanding of the products that make up the People Experience pillar, let's dive a step further into our 2020 R2 roadmap. Now, I don't want to detract from the demo that Karen has prepared for you, so I won't spend too much time here. I think the real value will come from seeing the software in a live working environment. Starting off with Workday Today. Workday Today offers a personalized lens into Workday, surfacing suggested tasks, transactions, announcements, reports, and insights. For home and delivered cards, we've made great improvements to the reimagined homepage and delivered cards since we first announced them. We have been listening and we've been learning from our early adopters, and we're very excited to provide some exciting updates as part of the 2020 R2 release. So first, we've separated the delivered cards into sections so that you can quickly see what is most important to you for your direct reports and what might be valuable when you have more time. This last piece we are calling the Discover section. This is for you to help you learn and grow. We hope you're pleasantly surprised by the insights that appear here as we're working to show each user the breadth of what Workday has to offer. And finally, the design has been reorganized from its original 1-column layout. We've seen many users miss the key content because they don't know to scroll, so we've brought the most key information to the top. Moving on to journeys. Have you ever wanted the ability to provide guidance to your people in an intuitive and engaging way? Now indulge me for a minute and let's think about your new people leaders or international assignments. These people need additional help, but they probably don't know how to access it. And what about the day-to-day moments where we need our people to take action, such as expense reports or talent reviews? Now, what if those actions were all in a separate system from Workday? Now, with Workday Journeys, we unleash low-code tooling that allows organizations to build unique experiences for employees through the use of journeys and custom cards. For Journeys, the team has been focused on flexibility. Now, what does flexibility mean? It means adding a lot of additional journey step types, such as adding in knowledge articles, videos, courses, and other content from Workday Learning, reports, and text. We're also going to allow journeys to be launched from staffing business processes. We want to ensure that pushing journeys to your employees feels as automated as possible. So allowing these transactions to be embedded into the existing transaction will reduce the time for your admins. And lastly, we've introduced mobile compatibility and a visual refresh for journeys to ensure the best user experience for your employees wherever they may be. Now shifting our focus to custom cards, we're rolling out a new tool to allow customers to configure their own people experience cards. We're allowing for the ability to create third-party cards with an additional tool to surface up important information outside of Workday. This is an example of the intuitive tooling that will allow you to leverage external data on the reimagined Workday home experience. And with schedule and delivered cards, you have the ability to schedule when the card is sent and to whom it is sent to. Now rounding off with Workday Help. Workday Help delivers the assistance that employees need in an individualized experience that delivers accurate and relevant information faster. The experience begins with a native knowledge management solution that houses all of your company's created HR content. When a user enters a search, Help pulls in HCM data about the user to ensure the information delivered is relevant to that individual. And when users need additional assistance, the case management feature allows users to securely create and track their case, as well as communicate with case solvers. So starting with the case employee experience, we believe that case deflection starts with the ability to find existing HR benefits and policy information. So to accomplish this functionality will be available everywhere, in Assistant, at case creation, and also within natural workspaces. There will also be the ability to surface relevant knowledge content to employees at the time of case creation. This is another tool that helps employees find relevant information in the context that they need it. So for example, if the employee is about to raise a case about family leave, we could show them some how-to knowledge articles related to applying for annual leave and the request leave task for the employee to action on. These case deflection capabilities are there to help employees find the answers that they need without having to contact HR, in turn leaving the HR teams free to focus on higher value, longer term projects. So now that we understand the investment that we're making in your employees and their experience, let's look at the functionality we're building to give your content authors and content managers the ability to author and publish great knowledge content. In 2020 R2, we're delivering a robust content authoring and publishing flow that leverages Workday security and segmentation capabilities. This is a consumer-grade user experience, complete with the ability to write rich text, add images or video, and include links to other knowledge articles or Workday tasks and reports. Articles can be categorized and tagged, allowing your content authors the capability to build a library of content that will serve your organization's needs. We'll also include the ability for your content authors to segment content by location. Since we know the employee's HCM data, we can return the right article that applies to them based on their location. Now shifting our focus to the other side of Workday Help, case management. Our focus for 2020 R2 was to help your HR teams to be as productive and efficient as possible so that they can provide the best possible experience to your employees. So to facilitate this, we focused on 3 key areas. Firstly, through assisted case resolution, we're delivering features which make it as quick and efficient as possible to resolve cases. So for example, within the case solver workspace, your case solvers have the ability to collaborate with other team members, reply directly to the employee with attachments, add internal notes, and use @mentions when appropriate. We've also leveraged Workday's Power of One to display contextual employee information right in the case management workspace. And this is configurable by you, the customer, and can be changed for different teams. For example, on payroll cases, you could display different employee information compared to benefits cases. This is another example of functionality that only we can provide. Having the one data model gives us the power to bring this rich contextual data into the places that matter the most, giving your case solvers the right data at the right time to quickly solve cases and be more productive and efficient. Finally, we'll be delivering a suite of reporting functionality to enable you to easily assess the health of your HR service delivery and take action on the results. You'll be able to report on factors such as SLA performance, cases per case type, and more. And that brings us to the end of the strategy and roadmap section. Before I hand over to Karen for the demo, I'd just like to mention that due to the current global situation, Rising will be taking a different format this year. All content for Rising will be available online and on demand. So please keep an eye out in the coming weeks for more information on when this content will be made available. I strongly encourage you to review the content as it will go in depth into our future roadmaps and plans for continued innovation and people experience. So thank you for your time, and I'll now hand over to Karen for the demo.
Thank you, Shannon. And I'm going to share my screen. For this demo, it's going to be an overview for 25 minutes about Workday People Experience. I will be focusing on the end user experience first as an employee. I will be showing you Workday Today. Then we'll move over to Workday Journeys, and finally Workday Help. Then I'll give you a sneak peek into a manager experience. It's going to be the same type of interface that meets you, but obviously slightly different when it comes to journeys and the cards, etc. And then finally, we will move over to our common friend, Logan McNeil, who is in this case a case solver, an administrator of knowledge articles, and a case administrator as well. So with that, let's get started. So I am logged in as Björn Eklund. And I encourage you to keep an eye on this section on the screen because it will actually change. So every time you come back to the home screen, there may be a different message here. The first thing that meets you also on the screen are your suggested tasks. So these are tasks as opposed to the apps that we used to have before. And if you are using machine learning, if you've signed the ISA, this will be surfaced based on actually the task that you use the most. If you're not, it will be tasks set by your administrator. Scrolling down a little bit, we can find the most used apps. Now, this is not new, we've had this before. So this is where you'll end up always being able to select the things that you are using most often. And often, of course, you can also go to the view all. While we're on this part of the screen, let me point out two different Workday delivered cards. So still talking about what's in today. So these are Workday delivered card. They used to be in the shape of maybe notifications or alerts in combination with announcements before. But now with the cards, you can place them in a good place on the screen and also make sure that people can get to the action that the card is telling them about. So Björn can go straight to create a new expense report because it's got credit card transactions ready to expense. And because it's been assigned new learning, he can go straight to take the learning that he has been assigned. So these are Workday delivered cards. Just scrolling down just a little bit on the page, we come to the announcements. Now we've had them before. So they, by themselves, they're not new, but what's new is the way that they look. So if we open up one of these announcements, they have a new look, more graphical, more visual, and you can also, on the announcements, assign different tasks so that people can take actions. You can also have video on the announcements. So those are the announcements, and scrolling down a little bit more, we come to the section that Shannon mentioned, that may be where the employee can learn more about things that are maybe not top of mind, maybe not the ones that they need to take action on now, but other things, other areas of your Workday solution that you want people to be able to dig into. So that's the discover part of the screen. Great. So the final thing about the experience of the homepage for the end user when it comes to navigating is the shortcuts. So this little piece up here of the home screen is the shortcuts. And when you open them up, you will see another way of navigating Workday. So this is where you can add your own shortcuts. So the tasks and reports, etc., that you want to get to easily, you can add them here on the shortcuts and edit them yourself. And you also have the most used apps. So from here, you can actually navigate Workday from the shortcuts box. Good, so that's sort of the face of Workday today when you come in or log on as a user. So let's turn over to the enhanced search. So when I place the cursor in the search bar, first of all, you'll see that you will have the recent searches. So if there is something that you're searching for that you normally search for, you can just reuse it. And again, Katarina, if the system knows exact matches, it can show it. But I'm going to go to the search homepage for you to point out what's new on this page. So the categories where the different search results get sorted. And also in the middle here, you get the results so that actually maybe the answer is already here. Maybe this is all Björn needs to know about Katarina. You will also be able to assign actions, etc. And of course, it's all clickable so that if that's what he needs to know, he's all done. But he's really interested in the organizations that Katarina is managing. So if this is something that he is often interested in, he can go down here and he can configure his search experience. So he can open up the configure page, he can grab the organizations and bring them up, maybe almost to the top here, and save eventually. Let me just move that away. There you go. And then he will be able to maybe focus in on some of the organizations that Katarina is managing instead. So next time he comes back to the search homepage, this will be the saved categories and the focus areas that he will be seeing under the search bar. So that's the enhanced search experience when you just use the search bar. Now another way to search in this new world is to use assistants or bots. I will show you Workday Assistant now, but as Shannon mentioned, sorry about that, as Shannon mentioned, these commands and actions, etc., that I show you that we can do in Workday Assistant, you can also do from your natural workspaces, so Slack and Microsoft Teams. So my example is Assistant, but the same thing works from Slack and Microsoft Teams. Let me just see if I can hide my meeting controls. Here we go. Great, so let's get started. Let's do the same thing again. Let's look up Katarina Lindgren, just to give you another way of finding someone. Now, if there's only one Katarina Lindgren, then Workday Assistant will return immediately a result. And maybe this is what he needs. Maybe it's all the information that's relevant for him. But of course, he can also continue, click on this to carry on further. Now, you can also take some action. So maybe he wants to give feedback to Katarina, for instance. Now again, if I wouldn't have typed a name here, the system would have asked me, who do you want to give feedback for? Now on the screen, you can see that the system is telling me what type of feedback it would be, etc. Oops, that's an interesting drawing. So let's go ahead and give some feedback for Katarina. And I will make sure, just on my screen here. So I'll type. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened to my assistant. It went away. Sorry, let me start over again. Open it up. There we go. Sorry about that. So great work last week on the fair. So that's my feedback to Katarina. And the system will say, so what badge do you want to give? Maybe I want to give her a hero badge. And then Workday will say, so this is what it's going to look like. Are you okay with this? Do you want to edit it or cancel? And I can just go and say yes. And Assistant has helped Björn to give Katarina feedback on something that she did before. So another thing you can ask the Assistant for instance, is if I type COVID-19 here, even if you don't have Workday help with a knowledge database or etc., you can do external links. So if I would click here, I would come to the Workday Coronavirus Hub that takes me to an external piece of information. So that's another type of search that you can do. Now the last search that he wants to do is to ask the system, what is my vacation balance? Because he has an idea that it's actually not completely correct. So of course he can also request time off, etc. But now the system shows him that these are the vacation balances that he's got. The thing is that Björn isn't 100% in agreement with this. He actually thinks that the 25 days are wrong, but we'll come back to that at a later stage. Great. So with that, we have looked at everything that is new in today, the way that the system looks on the homepage, the search experience, and Assistant, and the things that you can do in there. With that, I'll move over to journeys. So in the middle of the screen here, Björn has a journey under the Keep Track header. So you can go in here and have a look at the ones that he has been assigned. Now journeys can be sent to an employee based on something that happened in a business process, or just based on location, etc. Whenever there is something that needs to happen and information that needs to be digested, they can have different sections. So we can see that the first section is about understanding diversity and inclusion, and it's got a lot of different places you can go to learn more, including a Workday learning course in this case here. Of course, you can surface this kind of information. What you can also do is make sure that people can take action. So this whole section is about taking different types of actions, and you can open the task and take the action as you move along. You can mark your tasks as complete, etc. So here is an example of journeys. So if I go to the All Journeys homepage, I can also see that All the completed journeys for Björn are here for his reference so that he can go back and maybe look at it and learn some of the stuff that he actually did already in a journey that he has finished. So that's journeys, an example of a journey. And with that, I'm going to move over to the experience of an end user when it comes to Workday Help. And I will turn back to the assistant, actually. So of course, when you search, you can search in search bar, or I'm going to do it in assistant. And I am going to type, there is something slightly, sorry, I need to move my Zoom bar. Sorry about that. Do we have any well-being resources? It's a type of question you could maybe ask yourself. And when you do that and you have Workday Help, in this case, it surfaces a knowledge article for Björn. So he can go here and go ahead and click and have a look at the knowledge article about health and well-being in EMEA. And as Shannon said, it can be directed to different locations, etc. You can read, you can make sure that the employee has everything they need to know, and I'll actually click into another one that's got video just now. You can make sure that you have tags so that you'll be able to find this easier. Depending on if you type COVID-19, etc., you'll get the same search results. You can have, of course, related articles so that you can zoom, continue through your journey of understanding more about well-being resources. In the end, also, you can, of course, create a case. But that's not what I'm going to do now. I'm going to click on the COVID-19 safely returning to the office knowledge article, just to give you an idea again of the ability to have, for instance, video in the knowledge articles. So you can see, of course, you can include that as Logan. I'll show you quickly the experience of an author as well. Now, he still doesn't know the thing he wants to know. So he's actually going to create a case because he wants to know if he can come back to the office. So this is the case creation homepage and the experience for an employee if you create it in the Workday application. So COVID-19 is the case type I will select, and I'm going to say, can I return as the title, and can I come back to the Stockholm office is my question. Now, when I selected the COVID-19 type, then suggestions came up here. So the idea is that maybe we can surface something for Björn, something more that he can read, other assets where he can get his answer actually. So we can click on these different articles, etc., to see if he maybe gets the answer anyway. Now at the bottom of this case, you can also see examples of a questionnaire. Now, as a case solver, you may need to know more even before you start thinking about solving a case. It makes it more efficient, etc. So you can say, no, I have not been in contact with anyone who has tested positive. And then you can also add other topics to make sure that you route these cases in the best way possible. And with that, Björn has submitted a case about returning to the office. Let's come back to the home screen and create one more case in one more different way. And this time I'm going to use the assistant. So I'm going to type create case. Remember that I said that he had a problem with the actual absence balance. He actually doesn't think that he's only got 25 vacation days. So he's going to log a ticket for the type of, that's going to be absence and leave. And the title is my absence, oh God, I am so bad at typing. I'm sorry about that. My absence balance. And then the message is going to be, I think my vacation balance is wrong. Yeah, or wrong, even like that. Sorry about that. And submit. And Workday says, oop. Now, what did I do? Isn't that typical? So let's do a stop here. And I will do it again. So I'll do a create a case. I will select the absence and leave. I'll call it balance is wrong. And I'd like to add a detailed message. Please check my vacation balance. There we go. And now the system says this is what you're going to create, and I agree, I will now create that case. So another way to create a case is by using the Workday assistant like he just did there. Great, and that concludes my demo of the end user experience of the today with the enhanced search, etc., the journeys, and finally of help, of looking at a knowledge article and logging cases. I will now briefly log in as Katarina Lindgren, who is a manager, just to give you an idea of what the difference could be. So Katarina is a manager. She's also a manager that just got promoted. So she just got a new team. So when she comes in, the main difference that I wanted to point out is that her cards has to do with her team. So obviously, because she's a manager, there are other items and other things that has to do with her team. She also has a journey that we will focus in on, and it's called transition to manager. This is a typical example of having a journey as part of a BP, for instance. So again, different sections. What could you do to get started? You can review the worker history, get yourself a mentor, make sure you submit all the expenses from your prior role, and then have a look at your actual team. So check out the team goals, etc. And when you're done, you complete the journey. So it's just another example of a journey that makes sense when someone has a situation or a moment in their working life, in this particular case, being promoted. Now, when Katarina looked through her team, she realized that one of her employees is really interested and also has been somehow promised to go on international assignments. So she can go and search for international assignment. She needs to know more about the process, etc. And when she does, she's met by tasks and reports. This is how she would put someone on international assignment. But what she's interested in is to learn more. So she can go to this knowledge-based article about international assignments. She can read through it and look if she gets the answer. But actually what she wants to know, and again, related articles, etc., what she wants to know is the cost. So she can go here, she can create another type. So she's going to select employee mobility and say the cost of an IA. I'm going to do that because I'm very bad at typing. And I'll just say, how much does it cost to send an employee away? Again, attachments, etc. And as you saw before, you could have links, but this time I'm just going to submit a simple question about employee mobility from Katarina. And that concludes just the focus on journeys and cards that are slightly different, of course, for different types of roles. Now we're going to turn to Logan McNeil to look at help from the perspective of a case solver and a knowledge-based article writer. So Logan comes in and goes directly to the help workspace. Now this is a completely different screen in Workday, or a completely new screen in Workday. And let's have a look at it piece by piece. So on the left-hand side here, obviously now Logan, as always, has access to all the cases. She will be a triage person, a case solver that can work in all the different teams, and also is one of the people that actually assigns the cases to other teams. But here you can sort and see what the different case types are. Not everyone will have access to all of them, of course, but this is where she can see all this. You can also see that there is a functionality watch cases. So even if she's not directly involved, she may be interested in the outcome of a case or make sure that it's actually being treated the way it's supposed to. You can also create a case for an employee from the screen. Now, another way of looking at the same information is if you look at the right-hand side here. So instead, this is where Logan could focus on things that are actually assigned to me already that I'm working on, or unassigned items. And if you have SLAs, etc., it's really important to make sure that you assign those items. Now, just to show you some of the search capabilities, if I type vacation here, we are going to be shown that the case that Björn actually put out there, because he put vacation in the text, in the detailed text, just so you'll see ways of searching. Now, this is Björn's case about returning to the office. Let's open that one up. And this is the case solver homepage or workspace. And if we start looking on the right-hand side, this is what Shannon mentioned, that you have access to everything you need to know about Björn within the same system, within the same security. And this is where you can make sure that depending on the type of cases you work on, you will have access to the data that you're actually allowed to see. And of course, all of this is clickable if you need to know more about Björn. Any attachment to the case, and here you can read about the SLA. So in our demo system now, there's an SLA for the time to first response, which is an hour. So we're still doing okay on that one. If we turn our attention over to the screen here, we'll see that there is, there is a possibility to add flags. So even if you have classified this as a confidential HR, etc., you can add flags so that you can search and keep track of your different cases. And these flags are configurable by you and can be added as an extra piece of information. Now, there's no one assigned to this one. So when you open this one up, of course, there are going to be rules. So routing rules that suggest teams, and you configure these for yourselves. Now, it's already been suggested for the HR confidential team. And when you open it up here, you'll see the people that are actually on those teams. And if you look here, you'll see that it's actually only this team that has access to the confidential cases. What she can do, though, is assign it to herself very quickly. And then she can go in and reply to the employee and say, Björn, it is okay to come back. Wouldn't that be nice? And then send the reply to there. What you can do also, of course, is add internal notes, etc. And I'm going to show you that later on. To give you an overview of this particular space, you can select the type of data you want to see as well. So this one is actually already replied to, but let's go back and look at the one for the question on the vacation balance as well. If we open this one up, we would go here most likely, see that it's the benefits team, select someone from the benefits team and assign this case so that Maria can start working on it. We could do an internal note and tell Maria, we could tag Maria so that she sees that she's actually mentioned already, and just say, please check this. And this becomes our internal note then. Great, so speaking about tagging, over here you will see if you're tagged in any case so that you can quickly get if someone has a question for you, etc. Great, so with that we can also see that we have taken away some of the SLA warnings as well in this screen. So there's lots and lots to talk about here, but I am just going to move over to show you a way that you can report on SLAs. So on the help dashboard, very quickly, a few suggestions for reports that we have already to make sure that you can find out if certain teams are being overwhelmed, if certain topics are being asked more often than others, so that you can create knowledge-based articles or do something to mitigate this. So some of the examples of reports here, so open cases by category. So what are people asking about? Do we maybe need to enhance the teams or move people around in the teams, etc. Last month by status, are we resolving the questions? Are they open? Are they cancelled? Are they new? So an overview just of all the cases with that focus. Lastly, adding open cases and also looking at the different service teams to see if someone's overwhelmed, has got too much to do. And down here, this could be a place to go and see, maybe we need to do an information campaign around absence and leave because we have a lot of open cases. The absolute last thing I'm going to do before we leave it for question and answers is to give you just an idea of what the knowledge article editor experience looks like. So there was an article about international assignment, but Katarina still felt that she needed to raise a ticket. So maybe we should need to do something about that article. So opening up the knowledge base articles, you'll see the different statuses. I'm going to select one that's already published, and it's the international assignment one. I'm going to open it up, and as you can see, they're all versioned. So I'm going to open this one up to see if I need to edit it. I'm actually going to select edit from here. You can archive it, preview it, etc. Just to show you also, if I would like to add something here, maybe about the cost or whatever it is that we think is relevant, I can of course type everything I need to type, but I can also insert links like external URLs, Workday task reports, or other knowledge base articles that we saw before. I can also add media. So either from the drive, so from if we have learning, any learning courses, or I can upload it from my computer. When I'm done, I can preview it and I can publish it to make sure that it's available. Maybe if you added something about the cost, next time a manager doesn't need to ask the question in a case. So with that, as Logan McNeil, we looked at the experience of a case handler, the workspace where you can manage assignments, you can solve cases, you can communicate with other case solvers and with the actual case submitters. I gave you a view of the help dashboard that gives you an idea of the status of your SLAs, etc., when it comes to the cases that get submitted and solved. And lastly, just a quick look into the editor experience when it comes to creating and editing, publishing knowledge articles. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen and open it up for questions.
Brilliant. So thank you so much, Shannon and Corinne. Brilliant job. Thank you very much. So let's dive straight into some of the questions. So thank you for submitting your questions. So I'll take the first one so I can add some value at least to this session. So question from Manju. Hopefully I said that right. Apologies. Hi all. My understanding is that this will be a separate module that we need to invest in if we are interested in it. We're currently implementing HCM, absence, etc. So there are three elements: Workday Today, which was the new homepage, the assistant, the integration with the collaboration spaces, Teams and Slack. That's included in your subscription. And we're going to talk a little bit later. There's another question about, well, how do you activate it? We'll cover that in a minute. And then you have the journeys, which Karin and Shannon covered, which is the guided list of things to do at moments that matter, and the custom cards. That's chargeable. And then Workday Help, which is the case management tool, which is chargeable. Okay, just to be clear. Okay, so next question. There's a few questions here, so I'm going to read them out. They're all related. And then I'm going to ask Leneke to answer. So the first one from Eric. How do you enable Workday Today? And then we have one from Lisa. Do we understand correctly that to use Workday Today and its basic cards to change our layout is rather an implementation of one aspect of PEC's separate product and not a layout enhancement we can benefit from with simply opting in like the previous new Workday layout? So yeah, Leneke, I think if I can pass over to you to answer that one, please.
Yes, absolutely. So with Workday 2020 R2, Workday Today became an opt-in feature that is generally available, but it has qualifications. This means there are some criteria that need to be met to be able to opt in. Opting into Workday Today can be requested via a forum on Community. We, however, just recently closed the forum for the first wave of customers that will be able to opt in. So I recommend everyone that's interested in opting in to discuss that with their customer success manager on how to be considered for future opt-in possibilities. If you are approved to opt in, or once we are at general availability without qualifications, which will be at 2022 R1, there is some configuration needed. You can find these steps in the admin guide, but at a high level, you would need to enable a functional area, configure domain security policies, and then of course, set up your homepage.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So the questions are coming in, so I'm going to keep going. So Shannon, for you. Is Workday Today available in languages other than English?
Sorry, just trying to get myself off mute there. So People Experience, including Help, Journeys, Workday Today, will be available in French Canadian in November 2020. At the minute, we don't have any specific dates for other languages, but typically the big 8 languages are tackled first. So it would be Continental French, Canadian French, German, Spanish, Italian, Japanese, Korean, and then simplified Chinese. We plan on being available in all Workday languages for 2021 R2, and when we have more information about languages, we will be posting those details on community.
Fantastic, thank you. Here's an interesting one. I'm not sure who would answer this, so put your hand up, panel. When you are not in Workday, will a notification come through to alert you to the actions? I'm assuming that's kind of like replicating the cards, I think. That question. Yeah, I'm not sure, actually, I'm not sure what that question means. We'll come back to that one. We'll come back. Maybe, Tracy, if you could pop another question, maybe expand out what you meant there, that would be great. So Paula asked, the knowledge-based article is something that sits in the learning module, question mark. Well, no, the knowledge-based articles, they are in Help, are they not, Shannon? I think, yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so knowledge-based articles, nothing to do with learning, they're in Help. Okay, so we've done that one. Okay, so we use Salesforce for cases. Is it possible to have assistant create a case in Salesforce rather than Workday? Shannon, I'll leave that one to you.
I'm happy to answer that. Unfortunately, we don't support any external integrations for knowledge or case management at this time. So if you were to use Assistant to create cases, it would be within Workday Help and not to another third party or external system.
Fantastic, thank you. Here's another one, I think, for you, Shannon. Is there a possibility to add business process review / approval steps into the case management feature?
That's a very good question, and one that we often get. At the minute, that functionality is limited, so you could maybe add into your case solver workflow an approval step. So when the case solver changes the case status from in progress to resolved, it could then go to a manager or a supervisor to approve it before it's actually marked as closed. At the minute, that's the full extent of the functionality, but part of our future roadmap is to expand on that and include other business process and steps.
Fantastic, thank you. This is a question just seeking clarification on an earlier answer, so I think it's important to cover this one again. And it's not sure if this was already replied, but will Workday Today become available for all customers eventually within a year or two, meaning Workday will automatically update our home landing page to the new version? I mean, Shannon, I don't know if you want to take that one, just so it's really clear for everyone when they'll have to take it, if you like.
Sure. So Workday Today is opt-in for now, and between this release and GA 2022 R2, it will be generally available for customers who meet qualifications. At that point, everybody would then have to uptake the new homepage.
Thank you very much. So here's another one for you, Shannon, I think, about help. From Tracy. So if I'm working in Word or Excel and not actually in Workday at the time, will a notification come on my screen to alert me to new cases that come through for me? Hope that makes sense. I think it does, Tracy. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you for that question, Tracy. Again, another very good question and one that we get often. For now, notifications are either within your Workday notifications. If you're a case solver, you'll receive notifications in the case solver workspace. You'll also receive a dump at the end of every day for all of the cases that are in your queue and that are active. We do not support any push notifications at the moment, but it is something that's on our future roadmap for consideration.
Great, thank you, Shannon. So I'm overloading you here, Shannon. I've got another one for you, which is linked to the language support, I think, and about the knowledge-based articles. So do you have to upload documents to the Knowledge Centre in different languages, or is there some kind of auto-translate function?
Yeah. So at the minute, we don't support auto translation of knowledge articles. You would have to create and upload those articles in different languages. Again, in future, this is something that we hope to do automatically.
Perfect, thank you. Here's, I think, Shannon, for you again. So from Johannes, so Teams integration, really like the chat assistant, exclamation mark, thank you, Johannes. Did you say Workday was able to integrate with Teams so that the chat bot in Teams will be able to point to the right resources and create cases in Workday?
Yep. So that is, again, part of our future roadmap and part of our plan and our strategy to meet users where they are and in their natural workspaces. And we've identified Microsoft Teams, Skype for Business, Slack, all of the collaboration tools as natural workspaces. So eventually, yes, we will have full integration into those collaboration tools, and you'll be able to search knowledge articles and create cases.
Great, thank you. I'm going to give you a rest for a minute, Shannon. So, Lenica, so which BPs or business processes or tasks can be configured to be used in Assistant? And that might be more maybe about directing someone to the right place, but can you help with that, Lenica?
So the question is which business process we can direct it with?
Yeah, things like change, location.
Yeah, so right now I know we have change job enabled, and I believe with 2020 R2 there was we enabled Workday Assistant for personal information as well, but I have to double check the exact list of what
Okay.
can currently be used.
Thank you. Anything to add to that, Shannon?
Oh, sorry. Nope, I think that's all good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. What's the time? Okay, we've got 3 minutes left. Let me just see. Okay, yeah, so hi all, from Sandra. Can Workday be integrated with pre-existing knowledge management platforms? I guess we're thinking like SharePoint and so on, which, Shannon, what's our thinking from strategically on that point?
Yeah, so at the minute, no, we don't allow for external integrations. But again, we understand that as organizations, you have knowledge content stored in different places. And it's one of the things we highlighted as a concern or an issue for employees when trying to find information. So we will be building out integrations in the future that will allow you to pull in knowledge content from different sources so that there's essentially one entry point for your employees. They're searching for all of their information in one place, but where it comes from, I suppose, is irrelevant to the employee as long as they're getting the information that they need.
Fantastic, thank you. So there are quite a lot of other questions that are in the Q&A. So apologies for not being able to get to them, but we will follow up on them for you. And just before I hand back to Lauren, hopefully you found this session useful. We're all very, very excited about People Experience. It's totally going to transform your end users' experience of Workday, a much more compelling, engaging, contextual experience, and which will drive, I believe, high levels of adoption, and is going to help your employees be more productive and improve levels of engagement, definitely. So if you can just go to the next slide, I will hand back to Lauren to close off the session.
Thanks so much, Richard, and thank you to all of our attendees for joining today. As Richard did say, for those questions that we weren't able to get round to, we will get back to you either later today or later this week via email. And if anyone has any questions based on what they have seen today, please do reach out to either your account executive or your customer success manager. So with that, thanks again to Richard, Shannon, Karen, and Lenica, and I'll now wrap up the session.